There was some caveats to the invite. There was no tequila.
No tequila, no Peroni. Behave yourself. Sign this.
Yeah, there's a way there. 3-minute podcast.
My lifestyle is basically work and golf.
You saying you don't go to the gym?
Oh no, I go to the gym.
Don't forget there's a couple of cameras on us, yeah.
And then COVID came. Yeah. And then that was just a really scary time for everyone.
What did you do in terms of real estate there? Did you downsize or did you stay where you were?
I moved to the pond.
So I wanted to introduce Paul McGee, who's a very, very good friend of mine and the obvious first choice for this podcast as the first guest. So Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself. And first of all, actually, tell us how you came to be in Dubai. How did you end up making the choice to move to Dubai?
So first of all, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
There was some caveats to the invite. There was no tequila, and
no tequila, no Peroni. And behave yourself.
Be on your best behaviour.
Sign this.
Yeah, there's a waiver.
Yeah,
there's a language. So we'll see how we get on. 3-minute podcast.
Yeah. So I mean, This is my seventh year in Dubai now. I've worked in hospitality on and off for 21 years.
Yeah.
I was a DJ in Liverpool.
Different haircut back then, wasn't it? Didn't you have some blonde tips? Had blonde tips back then?
No, I didn't. Everyone thought I did. I had a mullet. I had a shaved head.
I've seen blonde tips. I've seen pictures.
I kept GHDs in business during the early 2000s. I used to wear those basketball T-shirts and everything else that everyone used to went through. I'm glad the Facebook never existed then. I was a DJ and just more of a bedroom DJ like everyone was when they were sort of teenager. And then I had this lad called Dave Pethard, and he had a venue in Liverpool called Bar Red, and he said, we're doing this all day a DJ thing. He said, send some, and by the way, it was tapes then. So you had to record yourself on a tape.
I remember.
And I sent in a 30-minute tape, and he said, yeah, come down. And then he gave me a gig from that, a weekly gig. And then within 2 or 3 weeks, I was then playing in the Aquarium. 2-3 weeks after that, I was playing the 051. And then
For those who don't know what the 051 is,
it was one of the biggest clubs, well, sort of localised clubs anyway. Yeah. And then from that, I then somehow ended up with my own radio show on Radio City, which is obviously in St John's Beacon in Liverpool. And I was having the time of my life, to be honest. And then my dad said, go and get a proper job. So I decided to become an accountant. As you do.
Did you really? I did not know that about you.
Yeah, I worked in bankruptcy for 10 years.
Yeah.
And just was really unhappy, to be honest. I used to walk through Liverpool city centre.
Just to be clear though, going from being a DJ, which is like a flamboyant lifestyle, to literally the most boring job on the planet, which is an accountant.
It's versatility, though.
It's just showing the full spectrum of skills. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was just... I loved it. I did... Obviously, this industry that I do, the hospitality industry, is amazing. Yeah. And it depends what you want to get out of it. Obviously, many people have so many different outlooks.
See, hospitality, for me, is a really broad term, isn't it? So, when you say you work in hospitality, what you've told us so far is you went from... DJ to radio host.
Yeah.
Where does that get you into Dubai?
Well, after doing what my dad wanted me to do for 10 years, I then became man enough to realise, I want to do my own thing and jump back into hospitality. Yeah. And did events management, general management, operationals management.
And that's back in the UK?
That's back in Liverpool, yeah. Working for a national company, looking after 13 venues. Yeah. And how it came about, to sort of wrap it up, is I used to run the Freshers first, which obviously everyone can relate to, the university for the 2 weeks that everyone goes to the freshers' fairs and parties and whatever. So I used to drive from Liverpool to Leeds to Nottingham to Manchester over a 2-week period, do 14 to 16 freshers' fairs in a big white van, and I was just knackered.
Yeah.
I was just, I was completely worn out, and I used to work in the day in the fair and the evening in the venue, and then I just had enough, and I was living on
Just clarify that for me. You said you worked the day in the fair. I can just see you working on a fairground there.
Well, we did have a big wheel that we used to spin, and you used to win a T-shirt or something.
You on the waltzes spinning people around.
It's the time of life.
Yeah, best day ever.
And I just reached I think I'd reached the point in my career where I was just like, when I reached that point in my career with the accountancy, like, I feel like there's more.
Yeah.
I'd reached a point in the career of which I felt like there was more again.
Yeah.
So I just applied for a couple of things online, like people do.
Yeah.
And forgot about it. And then a month later, I was walking through Sefton Park in Liverpool and got a random email saying, do you want to do a Skype interview with Zero Gravity?
Yeah. Wasn't open at the time, Zero, was it?
It was open. It just opened its pool. So I think it had been open for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure, okay. Did the Skype interview. 2 days later, do you want to do a HR interview with Jumeirah?
Yeah.
And then literally 2 or 3 days after that, they offered me the job.
It's funny because quite a lot of people come to Dubai because they've seen an ad online for a job, and we were just talking about it then. What did you think of that? Because you've come into Jumeirah, right? So the recruitment process for one of the largest brands in the Middle East is obviously different than a lot of other people experience.
Yeah.
Do you think that, and we'll go back into your story in a minute, but do you think the experience you had being onboarded with the likes of Jumeirah has helped you where you are now onboard your current staff? Because you hear of so many different stories. Again, off camera, we were talking about it. We can go into that now. That so many people, they'll have a leaving party, they'll move up sticks and go into Dubai, and 90 days later, it just hasn't worked out for them for whatever reason that could be. Do you think having a good onboarding from such a great company like Jumeirah has helped you further down the line in how you treat your onboarding?
Yeah, because I didn't do the leaving party.
Yeah.
My leaving party was an Instagram post on the day that I left.
Yes, I've gone.
Yeah, I'm going to Dubai.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah.
But the difference between me was I was really scared because it was a massive risk for me.
Yeah.
As it is a massive risk for anyone. However, I didn't have a build up to it. I kept it to myself.
Yeah, it was just quick.
And then, obviously, because of the onboarding process with Jumeirah and how corporate it is, I knew I was entering into quite a big family.
Yeah, so it's a lot more safe. So the recruitment process you find with larger companies, major corporates, major multinational brands, it's a nice process to go through because it's the expectation versus reality is there. You expect when you move to Dubai this amazing treatment, and then when you walk into a corporate, you get it. It's something we work on so much because we do recruitment from the UK, and it's really important. You know, when people land, I feel like I instantly become a father figure for people who've just landed because you've got to. You are their family from the day they land, and because that's what people expect, right?
Yeah, of course.
So many times you hear about people not lasting. They've done 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You've heard of that, right? Yeah,
no, I think Jumeirah never sold me a dream.
Yeah.
They give me a job. So
So why join then? Because
there's a potential.
Okay.
There's potential to achieve what I've achieved, and I think that Dubai gives you the potential to achieve as much as you want to, as long as you're willing to work for it.
I don't disagree at all with that.
If you expect it to be handed to you on a plate as you come off Terminal 2 or whatever it is, off the plane, like you're supposed to be given this care package.
Yeah.
Here's how to succeed in Dubai.
Yeah, good luck. Doesn't happen. And that, we see it in our industry. So obviously with so much exposure on the TV, you've got Selling Sunset, $1 Million Listing, Buying Beverly Hills, some of the best shows on TV to watch. But when people join real estate, they expect it to be like that. So they've seen what it's like on TV. They turn up. There are a company such as ours, you know, that's a space that we play in, the prime and super prime space, and they're like, right, okay, so I've seen the TV, so I expect it to be just like that now. I want to be videoed at the biggest villa in Dubai. I expect it to be exclusively with me, and a buyer to be with me next week. And that's genuinely, even though they don't say it like that, that's what people think because they've seen it on TV. And it always makes me laugh because that's just not what it's like. And you're saying when people land in Terminal 3, Terminal 2, wherever they land, that's the big eye-opener. Like, well, you've got not that much support now from your normal family network. It's on you. It's on what you do.
Yeah, because where'd you turn? We've all been, as growing up as teenagers or even in our younger or even later 20s now, the way that obviously the generations are, if something doesn't work out, you can always go back to your mum's or go back to your nan's or your dad's or whatever.
Exactly.
You've got that safety blanket, that parachute.
Yeah.
When you're in Dubai and you're in Dubai on your own, in a country that it obviously is not your culture, surrounded by people who don't speak. I mean, real estate is a little bit different because obviously the premium language is English. But working in Jumeirah, that was not the case.
Yeah, of course.
So then you're sat in a cafeteria, being the only English person there, whilst everybody else is speaking different languages. You feel like you're on a different planet. Yeah. And no one trains you for that.
Yeah.
But
that's a life skill, rather. It's not like a core skill. You can be taught that.
Yeah, of course.
You know, it's a life skill, isn't it? And sometimes the best way to learn that life skill is to have a bit of a rough time.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I have to be honest, I didn't really ever have a rough time at Zero Gravity.
Yeah.
When I worked for Zero Gravity, and obviously which is managed by Jumeirah, I always had support. And that job was crazy. I mean, like, crazy.
Yeah.
I had come from Liverpool running student venues to being given $3 million, blank check, go and book whoever you want.
Sorry, I just needed a coffee there. So when someone gives you a check, come on, Paul. So someone gives you a blank check, who'd you book?
I just booked it with one of the weirdest things about what I've done throughout my career is I've been the person that I'm targeting.
Right, okay.
So when I was working in student venues and working in like cocktail bars and stuff in Liverpool, I was that person. I grew up through that.
Yeah.
Then I came over to Dubai, working in a beach club, and I was the target audience.
Yeah.
It's not very difficult to target yourself.
Yeah. How do I get more of me to come to the venue? Yeah,
all I did was obviously assess the venue, looked at like what type of music was being played, what times it was being played, and building the journey. Yeah. Building the journey for the people who were coming.
Well, what was difficult about that then? Because I imagine there must have been some, you've moved over to a new country, different culture.
Yeah.
Your target audience is you, in theory. You know, it's the age bracket, the lifestyle choices, who you are comes to that venue. But you're used to doing that in a quite niche environment in the northwest of England or the north of England, where it's a very typical demographic that you can target, that you're used to being around. How do you target same age group, same life choices as you, but different culture, different upbringing, different backgrounds in terms of how wealthy they are? That must have been different for you.
Yeah, but no matter what people's wealth are, the person stood in a costume in a pool is as wealthy as the next person stood in a costume in a pool.
Yeah.
So if they both have a beer in their hand or whatever, just because the value of one person might be
How do you target them? Did you find it different? Because they have different preferences, maybe, is what I'm getting at.
No, because obviously when we skip forwards shortly, I'll talk to you about Dre's and White and the stuff I did there, and that was alien to me. You know, that was a lot of urban artists, and like I didn't know anything about that at
Yeah.
all. But the way I mean, I know it seems crazy to talk about this, but 7 years ago, the internet was not like what it is now.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to be ahead and book the artist before they became big artists, I'd go on to like Shazam and look at what the top 50 songs in each individual country is
Yeah.
that is being Shazammed at the moment. And then you can find it relatable.
Yeah, I get that.
Because when, at that point, I think we were one of the first, is that we were collecting data from the guests through the Wi-Fi, which is obviously then telling their nationalities and whatever. So I had that live to me, which was more a valuable asset than anything else that I could get.
Yeah.
But when you touched on, it was very niche. So was Zero Gravity.
Yeah.
Don't forget, you know, back in those days, you only had Barasti, Zero Gravity, Blue Marlin. That's it.
Yeah.
That was your competition. It's not like now, where you like, and then you had Nikki Beach.
Yeah.
So you literally had 4 beach clubs 6 years ago, and now you must have 60, 80
Yeah,
beach
there's
clubs.
lots. Yeah, yeah. Well, you just look up West Beach and there's a load up there, isn't
So what we were offering was we were in an event space venue with a pool.
Yeah.
So when people used to say to me, "What you do?" I used to say to them at that time,
What did they think you did?
sat on the beach all day.
You just sat on the beach all day.
So
aren't
I
you?
don't do any work.
Yeah.
Someone sent me an abusive tweet or something saying all I did was clean the pool.
Clean the pool. You've got a glass of sangria, nice bit of sangria on the beach, doing nothing all
I
day.
just didn't do anything. No, I wasn't like booking the biggest artists in the world and you know, arranging the biggest events this side of the world.
Yeah.
You know, like when I eventually got to book Fatboy Slim, I put 7,000 people through the door.
Yeah.
I mean, who can turn around? There's only a handful of people who can turn around saying, I booked Fatboy Slim, I put the event on, and I put 7,000 people through the door.
Yeah.
It was one of the biggest events.
All from the beach with a sangria in your hand.
Yeah, of course, yeah, whilst cleaning the pool. But just to go back, you asked me before about how do I know who I'm targeting?
Yeah.
And I think to relate that to real estate would be good because your target is so much vast than mine.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we were providing dance music.
Yeah.
You know, in a beach club, that's not. You're starting to narrow down.
Yeah.
Like
so it becomes,
who you were actually targeting.
It's an easy target because
It's an easier target. Plus the fact that the market's not saturated.
Yeah. You're one of a few.
Yeah.
We're one of, right now in real estate, there's 15,000 real estate agents in Dubai.
15,000.
Yeah.
That's as many restaurants as what there is in Dubai.
Is it? Is that how many there is? Yeah.
Yeah.
15,000 real estate agents. So, you know, you have to be doing something different to be successful. We're in a really fortunate position because we have an amazing brand, and what we do is, you know, I genuinely believe, and so does the whole team, we do it different than everybody else, which is partly, you know, why we're so successful. What do you do different now then? And we'll go back, I want to go back to the story, but I'm curious because it's come up. What can you do different to stand out? Because, I mean, we haven't gone through this yet. You have 2 of the most successful restaurants in their space in the whole of Dubai.
Yeah.
People talk to me about them all the time. Or if I mention you, they'll say, I've been to this one or I've been to that one. So we know they're super successful. You're super successful with them and you're the driving force behind them. Why would somebody choose your venues in one of 15,000 options? What can you do there to make them stand out?
Obviously, the biggest and most important thing for me is consistency. I always tell the story to anyone who joins, and we just had a new bartender who joined today, saying that if you go to Seattle and order a cafe latte from Starbucks,
yep,
and you go to Perth, and you go to Singapore, and you go to Dubai, it's consistent.
Yep.
So if they can consistently make the same drink across the world, then we should be able to make the same thing, whether it comes out the kitchen or the bar, in one in one venue.
It's interesting because you know this already, but my wife, Jamie, is your biggest fan because specifically you serve something that she likes, consistent, the same every time she orders it. And it's your roast dinner is amazing. The red cabbage on your roast dinner is the best according to her and according to me, but according to her. So when we're weighing up places to have a roast dinner, because she knows it's consistently going to be everything she wants, then that's where she'll go. That's the obvious choice. But how do you, because that's only deliverable when people come through the door. So how do you stand out and get people through the door? Because I think for me, real estate, it's all I've ever known, and it's an easy one for me to answer because I could talk about it for days. But I genuinely don't know what your process is to fill up a bar or fill up a restaurant. Brand new, you've just launched a brand new concept. How old's Black Sheep now?
It opened June, at the end of June. I just got nominated for 2 Time Out Awards.
Yeah, let's get that in. Let's get that in as fast as possible. There'll be a link below. Click as many times as possible.
No, you don't need to vote. It'll be up to the Time Out editors to do that. But
just send an email.
But
the point is, you launched in June, and already you've been nominated for an award.
2 awards.
2 awards. link below. You had to get people through that door. So what's the process for me? Let me explain where I'm going. I say to all of my team, the best thing you can be is the source of knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. So for a real estate agent, if you're the source of knowledge, you then become the obvious choice.
Yeah.
So the person with the biggest brain is the one I want to use to sell or rent my property, because this guy knows the most about this specific space, right? So we make sure we've got the most amount of knowledge, and we let our clients know we've got the most amount of knowledge. It's a great recipe. It works really well. What are you doing in that space to make people get through the door?
For me, I've always run my business on organic growth. Okay. Because one of the things about Dubai is you don't want to become, in my opinion, because there's no longevity in it. The amount of, if we could stack up to see how many restaurants opened and closed within 12 months in Dubai.
Like a fad, is that? Is that like a
like
brand new idea type of thing, or just not run properly?
No, that it becomes the it thing.
Yeah, okay.
And we have so many it things within Dubai. Yeah. And you attract the magpies.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like, okay, well, I believe everyone's going to this place now. Let's try it out. But then the next place opens, and then that crowd then goes to the next place.
Yeah. But so that's very similar to real estate, and I'll tell you why. When you launch a tower, it's the best tower. This is the best tower in Dubai, and it sells out, and everybody moves in. And then what happens is they build another one, and it's the best, the new best, and everybody wants to buy in that one. And all of a sudden, when you're 5 years deep, that first tower that was built, they have to start renovations and start major upkeeps to keep up with the new one that's just launched. And that's that real estate can't fail because it's built. It has to do something, and rather than have a price drop, they've got to do upkeep and renovations. So that's an interesting way to talk about that, because people do fail within the first year, right?
Yeah, of course.
What are the reasons for it?
Greed.
Do you think?
Absolutely.
In what way?
People think that hospitality is easy. You have people with a lot of money who think it's easy to run restaurants. It looks easy. I've seen it on the TV. I've seen it on the movies.
It does look easy. I'm not going to lie. From the outside looking in, it does.
But you need to understand you need to have an ethos within your business itself. Yeah. And you need to stick with that. If you don't have an ethos, then you will fail completely. Yeah. The most important thing to me is my staff.
Yeah, it has to be.
When I opened Mezzanine in November 2021, obviously with Dubai and the way you have a limited 2-year contract, 90% of the people that I employed in November 2021 have just renewed their contracts for another 2 years.
That's really interesting.
In hospitality, that is so rare.
What is the attrition rate in hospitality? Because it's 50% in real estate, but we sit at it's interesting because that's a 10% attrition rate. That's what we sit at, 10%, and I only lose people when they set their own company up or they have to move back to the UK or wherever country they're from for whatever reason they need to move back. In the last 18 months, I haven't lost, from memory, don't quote me on this, but from what I can remember, I haven't lost one person to another company, which is really uncommon. And our attrition rate is mostly people saying, Mark, I've made life-changing money. I'm going to open my own business. And all you can do is shake the hand and wish them the best of luck. But 10%, and that's interesting. What's your attrition rate?
That I think just it's similar to yours, but on that point is that my guys are different from your guys.
Yeah.
Your guys are making life-changing money.
Yeah.
The difference between my guys is they're getting paid every single month.
On time.
Yeah. They're getting...
That's the consistency, isn't it?
Yeah, and you just, again, in hospitality, unfortunately, you just don't get that.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of horror stories that you hear that people have not been paid for 6 months, they don't have visa, you know, they don't have medical insurance, the basic requirements of a human being within working in Dubai.
Just to survive in the country.
They don't have.
Yeah.
So then when I have a kitchen team currently of 14, and all 14 have been there from the beginning.
It's nice, that.
Yeah, of course, we've had a few changes, maybe like a couple of chefs have come and gone, but my current team there in mezzanine at the moment, there's 14 of them. Every single one of them's been there from the beginning.
That's so good. Must feel good.
Yeah, of course, and that also goes back to what you're saying about consistency with the food. The reason why the consistency there with the food is because they know what I want.
Yeah.
There's been blood, sweat and tears in that kitchen. People have probably walked into mezzanine when we first opened and thought, who's that crazy person shouting on the pass? And it was me.
Yeah.
You know, I've been there where on Christmas Eve we've served 1,000 people. 1,000 people have been, for the last 2 years, we've served a minimum of 1,000 people each day on Christmas Eve because of the Christmas market. And I'm there, again, blood, sweat and tears before I have the tequila later on.
Yeah, with the
just
best red cabbage in Dubai.
That everything that goes out is as it would be for 10 people in the restaurant, not 1,000 people in the restaurant.
So I was in, it's an interesting point this, I was in Miami last week, 2 weeks ago, and I was with one of the biggest names in real estate, and one of the things we were talking about was, how do you grow if you are as involved in the business as you are?
Yeah.
So he's the brand, and everybody joins for him. I feel like quite a lot of people join my company because they want to work with me. If that's what you're doing, that's a finite business model, because on Christmas Eve, you can only be in one place. So what do you do if you want to open more venues?
Well, I didn't have more venues at the time.
But what do you do?
So, well, what I've done...
Because that's the tough part of growth, isn't it? Because you're a bit of a, not you, but in general, business owners or people who are at the top of the business become a bit of a control freak because you want it to be right. How do you control 4 venues?
Well, you don't, but you employ the right team to do it. You again, just going back to that word of ethos, that you get them to understand what Paul would do in that situation. Yeah. So what is the decision that Paul would make? Yeah. And if they understand that, then they're running the business. I've just appointed recently a very good manager who's basically I trust running mezzanine, which has been a struggle, to be honest. Yeah. But the growth comes through being able to, first of all, and this comes back to what you were saying, which you don't give yourself enough credit for, is you train your guys. Yeah. You don't say to them, okay, day one, nice to meet you, good luck. Yeah. You make sure that they have the tools to do their job. And also you identify at the end of the day, I'm not the best business owner or the best restaurant owner in Dubai. I'm not the best general manager. I'm not the best events manager. You know, I'm not the best host or waiter, and I'm certainly not the best bartender or cook.
You'd be the best bartender. I think you can give yourself that title.
I'd be the best bar tester.
Yeah, bar drinker.
But also, and again, it goes back to, I know how to get things done.
Yep.
So that in the sense of, yeah, I've done marketing. I did marketing for Zero Gravity. I did marketing in the UK. So if then you're dealing with a marketing company, they can't bullshit you.
Yeah.
They can't turn around to you and say, well, this is how long it takes. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And you need to build, and this is where it comes down to where people look and say, well, how did you get to where you are? It's experience.
Yeah.
I've not gone to university and someone's taught me this is how you run a business, or this is how you run a venue, or how you be a general manager of a nightclub, or be the events manager of a beach club. No one's taught me anything.
Yeah.
I just taught myself. But I also understood along the journey what my limitations were.
Yeah.
And I was never, ever afraid to say, I don't know.
Yeah. Bring somebody in who does know.
Yeah, just
That's
rely on the team around you.
A lot of the reason for people not doing that and failing on the back of it is ego.
Yeah.
You know, wanting to be right. And I think that's a really great life lesson. As soon as you realise you're really bad at loads of things and you need to have people who are excellent at it around you, you just do the bits that you're excellent at, because that's where you are. That's why you are where you are, because you're excellent at something that got you there. But if I try and... Today I had a really interesting conversation with my tech team, because we have a custom-built CRM.
Yeah.
And I am not... I'm not a coder. Like, it's not who I am. I'm not that guy. And I wanted to do something, and I suggested a way to do it. And they felt compelled to tell me how much of an idiot I was. And say, Mark, look, just so you know, what you've suggested is a load of rubbish, and this is how we're going to do it. And the reason I'm telling you that is it's great to be in a position where people feel comfortable to shine around you, because you're comfortable in your own space with your ego, knowing that it's okay. It's okay to have amazing people. And I find that's a massive reason people don't grow, is they don't want others to outshine them.
Yeah, I mean, that is the biggest thing in life, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I can only explain it, there's a couple of things I want to mention, and I'll go into this, but when you asked me before what I did, or when you asked me what people thought I did, I made memories for people.
Yeah.
And the reason why that was is that, and where the light bulb sort of went off, is that I remember when I was at a Zero Gravity, and then I went home for a week in the summer, and there was a girl who was sort of waving at me over the street, and she come running over and she said, I want you to introduce you to someone. And I was like, right, okay. And I hadn't seen her for like 18 months or whatever it was, the last time she was in Dubai. And she said, this is John. He's my fiance, and we're due to have a baby. And I was like, okay, thanks for sharing.
Excellent news.
Great.
Congratulations. Yep.
And she said, you don't know, but I messaged you for a bed when I came to Dubai, and you got me a VIP bed, and it was next to John. And I met John in Zero Gravity, and now we're engaged to be married, and we're due to have a child.
Love that.
And I
it's
was
part
like,
of somebody's story there.
I was just,
nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like that. And to me, I was dealing with brunch, 3,000 people every single Saturday. You don't realise all the little memories that you're making for people.
Yeah.
You know, you could be creating what could be someone's best night that they've ever had. Yeah. Also the worst night that they've ever had, for whatever reason.
That's the bit people don't see.
But that's, you know, the work that you put in behind is obviously, but it's about experience. It's making sure that everything's tangible. And I think that relates to what you guys do, because when somebody is purchasing their home, that is their home.
Yeah.
There's nothing more personal than somebody's home.
It's the biggest purchase anyone ever makes in that space. It's normally their family home, right? There's nothing normally more expensive. You see a lot in Dubai where people do crazy things with money, but normally it's the biggest life purchase is your family home. So what's been your experience of real estate in Dubai? I imagine when we moved here, me and Jamie, we were in a room share. So we were in JBR, and it was I think it was Mejan 5. I still remember it now. There was 6 bedrooms. We had one just off the living room, and it had its own toilet, so it was premium, right? And we paid 5,500 dirham a month for it. Living with 6 other people. She was not happy at all about that situation, but that's what it was. But But that was our first experience of real estate in Dubai. And a lot of people have that very similar experience. They move to Dubai and it's like, what do I do? Am I staying in a villa on the Palm? Is that, you know?
it's so right you said that.
And it's exactly
it's so right you said that.
And then it's gone from, I mean, I'm not on that what I was expecting on the TV. I'm in a room sharing. JVC is the most common place now. It used to be JBR, now it's JVC. Yeah. And then, you know, as you progress in Dubai and you make, the truth is, it's when you make more money, your real estate experience changes. You're able to move out of the room share, maybe into the place on the Palm. So what was your experience like? Because I've never done commercial, so I'm only residential. You've obviously experienced both. You've had to find somewhere to live and you've had to find commercial spaces. What's that experience been like? Because you never used me.
No.
You never, did you?
But I'll tell you a funny story, actually, and you've just triggered something in my mind. So when I first came to Dubai, I arrived on the 31st of December, so New Year's Eve 2016.
Yep.
And it was really foggy. You know, those December foggy mornings.
Yep.
So they picked me up from the airport and put me on a minibus, and I couldn't see anything.
Yep.
Nothing at all. And then they took me to this building, and I went in, and it was like a one bedroom. Because I was a manager, then I had I was luxury to have one bedroom. Now, a few weeks before that, I was sending pictures of, weirdly enough, Souk Madinat to my friends and family, saying, this is where I'm living.
Yeah.
Because I assumed, obviously, working for Jumeirah, this is where I just said Jumeirah, this is where I was living.
Yeah.
So, lo and behold, the next morning when I woke up and the fog had cleared, and I went outside and people were walking around with no shoes on, and I was like, this is interesting. Where am I?
Where am I now?
Where is this even Dubai?
Yep.
And obviously I was in staff accommodation.
Yep.
So I was in staff accommodation for about 3 months, and the only reason why I came out of staff accommodation was because I got Frank. So So
for those who don't know, can we get a picture of Frank come up? I'm sure we can. Frank is there.
Yeah. So
make sure it's the one with the glasses on.
So I always wanted a pug. I got Frank, and dogs weren't allowed in the staff accommodation. So I used to sneak him in a sports bag, and he was only like three months old. So then I moved to JVC, and it was different then. I'm going back, nearly 7 years. I literally drove from building to building to see what was available. Because that's kind of what you did then.
So you used to speak to
the
reception
concierge.
or something? Yeah, okay.
So I drove round JVC because I was told JVC was quite affordable.
Which it is. It's the number one area in Dubai still. Every month without fail, based on transactions, it's number one.
Really?
Every single month.
Well, I mean, obviously when I moved there was no lights, there was no pavements. There was no hotels, or there was nothing like that there. If you wanted to go anywhere, you had to go to Motor City or even go to Barsha Heights.
Yeah.
So I moved there, and I just turned up, and he went, just give us checks or whatever. And so I was living there for a couple of years, and then moved on from there, moved into the Greens, then moved to the Mac Hills. And had a townhouse, which was great for the dog. Yeah. Because obviously connected to the park and everything. And then COVID came. Yeah. And then that was just a really scary time for everyone.
What did you do in terms of real estate there? Did you downsize, or did you stay where you were?
I moved to the Palm.
Said no one ever.
Yeah, I moved to the Palm because obviously one of the businesses that I had interest at the time was on the Palm. Yep. And it was a dream, and got a ridiculous rent. Yep. Ridiculous rent. I'm talking I think I originally got it for 100,000, and now they're going for 240,000. Yeah. And then now looking to buy somewhere.
So when you rented that, did you use a brokerage? How did you come across the Palm unit?
I think it was just a Bizzle or just a search engine.
Was it?
I think it was just literally that. It was, I didn't really. When I rented at the Mac Hills, that was directly through to Mac. Yeah. So it wasn't like I'd built a relation. And then don't forget, when I'd rented in JVC, that was with the concierge.
So
I actually didn't have any relationship with anyone.
So when you've gone from them different real estate transactions to now you're looking to buy, again, not through me. I
have asked your boys and they're trying to help me out. Like,
I don't broker, so it's okay, but not through me. What's it like now?
You mean the market?
No, what's it like as an experience? So, you know, let me rephrase that. What are you like now during that transaction? Because when I chose the room in JBR, it was whatever was available, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And then your preferences change as your wealth increases, and obviously you've been extremely successful over the past couple of years. So do you find yourself being different than the way you was 6 or 7 years ago when you're looking at real estate? Is there things that, other than space for the dog,
And the cat now.
And the cat, yeah. How does your search criteria differ than what it did previously? Not just based on price, but...
So the two key elements for me are location in respect to the businesses.
Yeah.
Because it's important to me that if at any given time that I'm not in the business, that I can get to the business.
Does it matter about commute?
Yeah, of course.
Does it, yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, the best thing I ever did, and honestly, I'm a terrible driver anyway. My wife Jamie will say, Mark's the worst. I'm a terrible, as I don't care. I don't like flashy cars, or like, it's just not who I am. I don't really care about stuff like that. But the best thing I ever done was get a driver, because I'm in the lakes up to Business Bay, and I get 25 minutes every day and 25 minutes home. I get 50 minutes a day over everybody else in the market who doesn't have a driver. So every single day I feel like I'm an hour up.
Yeah, for sure.
On everyone. And I've sent emails, I've recorded videos, I do videos in the car every morning.
Watch them every day.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate the support.
No problem.
And I feel like I'm beating everybody because I'm an hour up, because everybody drives. It's normal to drive. It's not normal to have a drive. It's not fancy or flashy or anything like that. I get an extra hour to work over my competition. I've got an hour on you. What that means to me is I get 20 hours about a month, which is nice. You know, I get about 20 hours a month. So I get basically get a free day every month. And I don't have to drive down Shigside Road.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most sensible decisions I ever made, was giving myself more time to work and less stress, right?
Well, yeah, it gives you peace of mind. I mean, that obviously, especially the way that Dubai is at the moment, with the amount of traffic that there is.
It's full.
If, like, it took me an hour and 45 minutes to get from the Palm to Coca-Cola Arena last week.
Yeah. What did you go and see?
Trevor Noah.
Oh, nice.
It's very funny, actually.
Was it, yeah?
Yeah.
So going back, I want you to tell me about real estate. I want to know, and where I'm going with this is, have you become a Dubai princess in any way? Because we all do, right? We all turn into something at some point where we're like, if the boys back home would see my initial request on buying this property, they would give me a lot of grief over it.
No, I'm not. I don't think I'm that high maintenance, to be honest. I like an easy life.
Yep.
I'm like, I do drive a nice car, but I've also crashed into about 3 or 4 different walls over the time, because to me, it doesn't. I'm not driving it because it's a nice car. I'm just driving it because it's comfortable. Do you understand what I mean?
But like, could you drive that car back home?
No, because it'd probably get robbed.
Exactly.
So, no, it would definitely get stolen. Within probably a day.
Maximum.
But no, I mean, if I was to drive that car in Liverpool, then people would be like, "Who is this?
Why are you driving that car?" Yeah.
Whereas now, it doesn't.
You blend in.
It doesn't matter.
Great car, but you blend in, don't you? Because
it doesn't really matter. And again, cars aren't really that important to me. Can I get my golf clubs in the back?
Yeah.
You know, can I get the dog in the back if I need to take him somewhere? And am I going to be comfortable for my journey?
Yeah.
That's the most important thing for me. But when it comes to property, the most 2 important things for me was location to the business, which is obviously commute. But even when you mention about commute, it's all well and good for you're going to a place of work at a sort of set time for however many days you're going.
Yeah.
Whereas with me, I might get a phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I need to be there. So I'm not going to then wanting to drive 50 minutes to
makes sense, yeah,
to that venue to then deal with whatever that issue might be. There's been so many times when sometimes I just have to be there at 3-4 in the morning because I need to deal with something.
Yeah.
So it's important to me. So moving to like somewhere like Greens or staying on the Palm is central to where the businesses are. So that's important to me.
But if you're going to buy now, what are you looking at?
But that's a challenging question because the weird thing is if you look at like Marina Residences now,
yeah,
and then you look at Greens and you look at even Damac Hills, you've got 3 different sort of properties completely, but they're pretty much the same value.
Yeah, value or price? Because that's
price.
Totally different things. Because value is, you know, it's subjective, right? It's what do you see as valuable and what I see as valuable are totally different things. So do you think your buying process now is different than what it would have been 6 years ago?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Good. Why?
Because I've grown as a person.
Yeah.
And because, you know, I think that I've always lived in nice places actually when I think about it. When I lived in Liverpool, I lived on the docks.
Yeah.
You know, when I was saying before about the nice car and stuff, yeah, I've had nice things, but I've worked hard for it.
Yeah.
Do I require a built-in gym or cinema or a pool or whatever else? No.
Yeah.
Because actually, that doesn't fit my lifestyle. My lifestyle is basically work and golf.
You're saying you don't go to the gym?
Oh, no, I go to the gym.
Don't forget there's a couple of cameras on us here. They say a
I do
camera...
go, I'm happy to provide the evidence.
the camera that's £10 and there's 3 on you.
I only go... The way I look at it is that the more I go to the gym, the more Peroni I can drink. So
that's right, yeah. You're just buying...
It's just ale mats, really.
Yeah, I love it. It's like
so just put it in the bank.
Yeah, I love it.
But no, I think... I understand from your side and I can imagine how demanding people can be, but that also comes with value or price as such or what they value at it.
I just think as you get older, you start to want different things. And it always makes me... I always find it really interesting speaking to people similar age to me, you know, who 10 years ago... the buying process would have just been totally different, and you realise it's a key indicator you are getting older.
Oh no, without a doubt. I mean, I went to see 2 properties today. I just basically looked around and went, yeah, this should be a nice house, and walked out.
Yeah.
I don't need to. I know the area, obviously. Again, because I've been in Dubai for 7 years. You know, it's always important when you're buying somewhere, especially if you're new to Dubai. Like what the road network is like, you know, how, you know, when the busy periods are, what the amenities are like. Is there somewhere I can go to the supermarket? Is there somewhere I can maybe go for a drink or to a hotel or whatever? And what Dubai has done amazingly over the last sort of 3 to 4 years is built more affordable hotels because we were always that 5-star hotel place. And then obviously His Royal Highness wanted more affordable hotels to encourage more affordability within Dubai itself, and that's why you have the likes of the Greens Hotel, which is one of the most profitable Jumeirah hotels that they have because it's within the community. And that community, which must be, you would know better than me, but it must be at least over 100,000 people living in the Greens, that they then are able to go to that hotel to accommodate them if they want to go to Lala, if they want to go to wherever they want to go to for something to eat with the family or something to do. So that's important. That's why JVC, again, they built the 5. That didn't exist. So, and now you have, I think for people in general, they're spoiled. We lived, when I lived in JVC, that was supposed to be the end of Dubai. There was nothing really past that. And when you used to say to people, I live in JVC.
It's miles away.
Yeah, it's miles away where you live there.
You know what? I got here in 2009 and people used to say ranches is miles away. So I was like, why do you even cover Arabian ranches? It's miles away. And it's not. It's like 7 or 8 minutes from Mall of Emirates. Like, it's really close. Now, you've got like Damac Hills 2, Town Square, Serena, Mira. People say they're far away. They're not. Like you look at Dubai South, that's probably going to be the next big area, I think. But as soon as you put a golf course on, we'll go and take a look around because there's one coming. But that's miles away. But then all of a sudden, that's at the base almost of Palm Jebel Ali, and it becomes not miles away. It becomes like right in the middle of everything. And Dubai's got so much space to grow into. So I feel like, you know, people used to say, this development, I don't know if that's going to get finished. That was a common thing. I remember being here, someone saying to me, "Do you want a park? That's never going to get finished." And I was like, "Oh no, that sounds terrible." It's finished. Of course it finished. You know, it's just people say the craziest things and don't really see the bigger picture that's in play for Dubai, which is it's going to keep growing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because if you go down, look at the roads, it's rammed.
Yeah, but when you came though, it was just after the crash in 2008.
Yeah, right after it.
And if you remember going to Marina and JBR in those days, there was a lot of derelict buildings.
Yeah, loads.
So that...
Well, there was no JBR. The walk didn't exist.
Yeah.
It used to be a beach. Me and the missus used to go and would be on the beach, and it was just JBR and then sand, and it was brilliant. Now, obviously, it's amazing what they've done down there, but they'll keep growing.
So from your side then, when you're dealing with clients, obviously you're dealing with clients who are just based in Dubai or externally as well. And what's the difference between them?
Loads of external. You know, what we've seen is everybody comes to Dubai. First thing they do is they rent. It's very rare people buy when you move to Dubai. Yeah, you come in and you say, "I'll rent somewhere, see how it goes." And because of the way rental prices have gone, typically people who come in, they do an apartment, they get settled, then they do a small villa, then they buy. And they typically buy in the small villa community or the top end of the previous apartment community.
Yeah.
And then that would be the block for them. They'd sell that and move back to the home country. It's just not the case anymore. It's not the case because people are building forever homes here. Yeah. And what we're seeing is so many renters choosing to buy early on because access to finance is some of the best in the world here. You know, rates they're not as high as the States, they're not as high as the UK. I was talking to somebody today, they've got a 7% mortgage in the UK. So you're being charged 7% on your mortgage to have to live in the UK. It sounds horrendous, to be honest. Whereas here you can get rates as low as like 5.35, which is still high compared to what it has been, but it's really favourable. Really, really favourable.
But the process actually for buying is a lot easier than what you would think.
Yeah.
But again, nobody gives you that handbook on what to do.
Well, that's why I was asking about agents, because 15,000 agents in the market. I was joking on Instagram this morning. I said, you can turn around in Dubai Mall and throw a dart in any direction and you'll hit a real estate agent. They're everywhere. And that's good. That means that there's loads of real estate going on, and that's a great indicator that the market's in a good position. But, you know, if you take a look at the way it was 10 years ago to the way it is now, the profile of people is totally different. They're looking at a 10 to 15, maybe 25-year plan here. It used to be 5 years. Go to Dubai, in a load of cash, 5 years later, I'm out. Now, where do you go from here?
Me personally.
But in general, right? But what's next?
But the beauty about what they've done, and this is, again, why His Royal Highness is such a visionary, is they created the Golden Visa.
Yeah.
You know, that give people the security that even when we came originally, and we were in, like, well, me specifically, I was an employee.
Yeah, me too. But I started off as a rental agent in Dubai.
But where in the world, and someone tell me where in the world I can be an events manager and then within 5 years own my own business?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, not just own your own business. It's, if you take a look at the opportunity around owning a business here, the opportunity to earn life-changing money, I've never seen it before, because I don't think it exists. But, you know, if you look at the key factors on why you'd want to be in a location, for me, it's safety. Yeah. Like, that's big for me. It's education for the little one. It's healthcare. It's climate. And its ability to earn life-changing cash. If you look at all of them 5 aspects, where else has got it? because I don't know. And if you were to write a list of every single possible place an expat moves to, you cross safety off them all, because nowhere is as safe as Dubai. And that's when, you know, you take we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere from Dubai. And I speak to so many people who 10 years ago would have been in a position where they go, I'm just going to earn some cash and then I'm off to Hong Kong, or I'm off to Singapore, or I'm off back home. That's since COVID changed quite a few things. People are now saying, nah, Dubai dealt with COVID the best. Nobody dealt with it as good as this. It's safe. There's no crime. There's no crime because the country is operated sleek. It's professional. It's the best you'll ever see a country operated because everyone's happy. Everyone's happy in an up or a down market here. I've been here in one of the worst markets that ever existed, but everyone was happy because I think it's more of a culture thing here. I think the not just the culture of the country, the culture of people who choose to move to Dubai. It's like a friendly group of people and always has been. But where would you go next? And it's more of a rhetorical question because I don't think you've got an answer, because I can't think of a place.
I don't know. I think obviously as I grow the business, then that will define where I'm go next.
Yeah.
You know, but I would like to build the brands within Dubai.
I wanna. What are we like for time?
6 minutes.
We're on an hour. Okay. Well, finish. It's quite nice though, isn't it? Really good content. I've got one final question for you, because you're not leaving Dubai, because why would you? Where's retirement and what does that look like? Is it, let me put some words in your mouth, when you speak to people back home and they say, you're just on a beach all day with a sangria, have they manifested that for you into retirement? Is that where you're going to be? Or because I will find it hard to switch off, because I don't. Until me and the missus have every single day we'll make a pot of tea, because I've got a bar in the house when I don't even drink. We just have a tea bar, and at a specific point in the day it's phones off and we switch off every night, and I'm able to do that. But 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I can't switch off, and I don't think I'll be able to yet. I've got too much to give, I think. But when the time's right, retirement is obviously something that we talk about. What does it look like for you?
I never switch off, and that's really bad.
Yep.
And it's actually really bad for the people who are around me as well. Sometimes I'm so engrossed within my work that I'm not actually the best person to be around, because something will go off on my phone.
Yeah.
Now, just to point on what you said, I'll tell you a short story. In January 2009, I was in Barbados, and Obama was being inaugurated, and I played Royal Westmoreland, the Royal Westmoreland golf course.
Yeah.
And as I was in the buggy going up the fairway, some guy waved at his wife and said, "Bye, darling." He jumped in a buggy and drove out of his back garden onto the golf course. And I don't have many dreams or aspirations, but to be perfectly honest, other than to try and be successful, is that is what I want. Yeah. So when I reach that point where I have my own place on the golf course, where I can drive my own buggy onto the golf course, then I know then that I'm actually doing all right for myself.
That's what it looks like. But do you think you'll be able to, if you sold all your businesses now and didn't need to work, could you switch off?
No.
It's tough, isn't it?
I'd have to. I will work until they put me into the
Until
ground.
You can't.
Yeah.
And then it's such a weird place to be, because there's a lot of people like that in Dubai. It really does push you, and there's a lot of drive in the country. Like that. When we go to Disney, we say like, I don't know if you're a Disney person. I am. I'm a big kid, right? But when you go to Disney, you can feel it. It's magic, and you can feel it around you. Like there's something different. When you're in Dubai, you can feel it. Like there's drive. Like if you don't do this, somebody else will, and if they don't, somebody else will. And there's that like, I don't know the right way to phrase it, but there's always a fire underneath you, because it needs to be, because you're not the only person in your space who's amazing, and you've got to step up. But that's tough. to go from that to
Nothing.
And they say that's the biggest. I don't know the stats on this, so don't quote me on it, but I'm sure men who retire have something like a 70% chance of death within the first 5 years or something.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the way to avoid it is not to retire. That's the plan. Just work forever.
I think obviously you need to slow down, but you don't need to be going to the. You don't need to be working at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Hopefully you put yourself in a position where you don't have to do that. But I don't ever see myself thinking I'm not doing anything.
So like a consultant. I like the idea of being a 60-year-old consultant. Bring me in, let me do a bit, let me feel valuable, let me give you a load of valuable information and help, but also probably going to leave at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll give you what
what I've learned,
and at the end of the day, if the market's moved on, it's moved on, and you go away peacefully. But I think that Dubai has so many success stories and so much drive that I don't ever think the people who are successful, someone like yourself, is the reason why you got there is because you've got the drive. You're not the one who's going to the beach. Whereas everybody else thinks that that's what you are doing, but you're actually not, and that's the reason why where you are today. No,
I 100% agree. The expectation versus reality is just, it's wild what people think you do and what you actually do. I'd love to do a day in the life with me, because it would be wild. I'd love to do a day in the life with you, because I know a lot of your stories and we've not gone through them today. On purpose, because we can't. But I'd love people to see what it takes to get to where you are, because you're not spoon-fed. Okay, that is us coming to an end.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. If you want to see Paul at 3 o'clock in the morning, he will be at Mezzanine or the Black Sheep. Where's the Black Sheep? Give a shameless plug.
The Black Sheep British Gastropub is in the Pullman Hotel in Cluster T.
In JLT.
In JLT, yeah.
And what would be the number one order if you were my missus?
Well, the roast, obviously.
The roast with the red cabbage.
The fish and chips is a massive seller, and also massive.
It's about the size of my head. It's massive.
Yeah, it's even bigger than that. You've got a big head. So, but it's a proper traditional British pub. It's a home away from home.
Yeah.
You go in there and you feel like you're not in Dubai.
It's a proper old man's boozer type of vibe, but
that's
with great
exactly
food.
What it is, which has just been nominated for two
awards. Would you believe it?
Time Out. I don't know if I mentioned that.
No, but there'll be a link somewhere, I'm sure. And what about Mezzanine?
Mezzanine is Mezzanine Bar and Kitchen, which is a British gastropub. It's more your foodies place.
Yep.
In respect of what the obviously the Black Sheep is more drink driven. And it's one of those places where, and people say to me all the time, if their family's coming, if their mum and dad's coming, they have to take them to Mezzanine.
First place to go.
Because you're by the side of the water, you've got the views of the Burj Al Arab, you're in the Souk Madinat, which is an iconic location within Dubai. It's just one of those places that you have to go to.
Yeah, it is.
Now that
it's almost like a bucket list Dubai restaurant now. I don't know if you've come across that phrase for it before, but everyone I speak to says they'll take the family to Mez. It's just a thing that Jamie's nan was here last week and they went to Mez for a roast. It's just what people do. It's like going to JBR or going up to Burj. I'll go and have a roast in Mez, that's the best marketing you can ever have. That's the best word of mouth marketing. But
yeah, of course.
So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you again soon.
Thank you, mate.